Welcome to our channel. Today, we're bringing you an exciting look at HD Old Coins 51, a collection of fascinating, historic coins that showcase incredible artistry and craftsmanship. Each coin has a unique story, connecting us to a bygone era and preserving the rich heritage of the past. Whether you're a passionate collector or just curious about these rare treasures, this video will take you on a journey through history. Let's explore the beauty, value, and significance of these remarkable coins. Top 1. In the year 1925, the United States was roaring into a new era. The echoes of World War I had faded, and the country was dancing to the rhythm of jazz, flappers, and the booming economy of the Roaring Twenties. It was a time of transformation, a moment when America was reshaping itself into a global powerhouse. Against this backdrop, a small but significant coin was circulating in the hands of everyday Americans, the 1925 Buffalo nickel, a piece of history that carried more than just a 5-cent value. The Buffalo nickel, officially known as the Indian head nickel, had already been in circulation for over a decade. Designed by James Earl Fraser in 1913, this 5-cent piece was not just another coin. It was a tribute to the country's indigenous heritage and the untamed spirit of the American frontier. Fraser's inspiration stemmed from his own experiences growing up in the Dakota Territory, where he witnessed the decline of the great buffalo herds and the struggles of Native American communities. The coin was his way of preserving that legacy, ensuring that future generations would never forget the raw beauty and resilience of the people and animals that once dominated the American landscape. On the obverse, the proud and stoic face of a Native American chief gazes into the distance, a composite portrait said to be inspired by 3 different tribal leaders: Iron Tail of the Lakota Sioux, Two Moons of the Cheyenne, and Big Tree of the Kiowa. Their features blend into one, creating a powerful image of strength, wisdom, and history. Just beside the chiseled profile, the word liberty stands boldly, a testament to the ideals that America held dear. Below the neck, the date 1925 is struck, marking its place in the timeline of U.S. numismatics. Flipping the coin over, the reverse side is dominated by a magnificent American bison, often identified as Black Diamond, a famed buffalo that once roamed the Central Park Zoo in New York City. The creature stands firmly, its massive frame exuding power, its thick fur textured with intricate details. Above its back, the words United States of America curve gracefully, while just beneath E pluribus unum is inscribed, a reminder of the nation's unity. At the bottom, the denomination 5 cents is boldly stated, reinforcing its value in commerce. The 1925 Buffalo nickel was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia minted coins bore no mint mark, while those from Denver carried a small D just below the 5 cents, and San Francisco coins featured an S in the same spot. However, this year presented a particular challenge: poor striking quality. Due to excessive die wear and an already weak design, many 1925 Buffalo nickels emerged from the mint with indistinct features. The details on the Native American's hair and the bison's horn often appeared mushy or incomplete, making fully struck examples highly desirable among collectors today. As these coins entered circulation, they became a staple in everyday transactions. A nickel in 1925 could buy a loaf of bread, a cup of coffee, or even a ride on a streetcar. Young children clutched Buffalo nickels as they rushed to the local candy store, eager to exchange them for sweet treats. Meanwhile, factory workers and shopkeepers passed them along as wages and change, never realizing that decades later, these small, seemingly ordinary pieces of metal would become prized artifacts of a bygone era. Over time, the Buffalo nickel's flaws became more apparent. The raised date on the obverse was especially vulnerable to wear, and in many cases, it disappeared entirely after years of circulation. Collectors and numismatists began to recognize that well-preserved examples, particularly those with sharp details, were becoming increasingly rare. This realization fueled interest in the series, and the hunt for high-quality specimens of the 1925 Buffalo nickel began. For those searching for this coin today, condition is everything. A heavily circulated 1925 Buffalo nickel, worn down to a shadow of its former self, might only fetch a few dollars. However, A well-struck, uncirculated example with full details can command hundreds, even thousands, of dollars at auction. The San Francisco minted version, in particular, is among the most elusive, with sharply struck examples being exceptionally rare. Beyond its numismatic value, the 1925 Buffalo nickel represents something deeper, a connection to America's past. It tells a story of artistry, history, and the fleeting nature of time. Each scratch and mark on a circulated coin whispers of hands that once held it, transactions it once facilitated, and pockets it once inhabited. As collectors continue to cherish and preserve these pieces, the legacy of the Buffalo nickel endures. It remains one of the most beloved and iconic coins in American history, a reminder of a time when 5 cents held real purchasing power and when the country itself was still defining its identity. For those lucky enough to own a well-preserved 1925 Buffalo nickel, it is more than just a piece of metal. It is a tangible slice of the past, a relic of an America that once was. And so, as we admire this small yet significant coin, we recognize that its worth goes beyond the numbers. It is a piece of artistry, a reflection of a nation's journey, and a collector's treasure. Whether tucked away in an album, displayed in a showcase, or held between eager fingers, the 1925 Buffalo nickel will forever remain a symbol of resilience, beauty, and history, an enduring testament to the timeless appeal of numismatics. Top 2. The 1934 Buffalo nickel, one of the most iconic coins in American numismatic history, brings us to a moment in time that offers rich stories about the U.S. Mint, its design process, and how it ended up in the hands of collectors. Let's dive into the history, design, minting, and its allure to collectors. In the early 20th century, American coinage was undergoing a transformation. For decades, the U.S. Mint had been producing coins with designs that spoke to the nation's agricultural roots, but the country was growing and changing, embracing industrialization and urbanization. The government sought new designs to reflect the evolving American identity. The Buffalo nickel, first minted in 1913, was introduced as part of this new vision. However, by 1934, the coin was nearing the end of its run. In 1934, the U.S. Mint produced one of the last Buffalo nickels, continuing the legacy of the coin that had captured the American spirit. The 1934 Buffalo nickel wasn't drastically different from earlier issues, but its minting represents a period of transition for the country and the U.S. Mint. The nation was in the midst of the Great Depression, a time of financial hardship for many. Yet, in the midst of adversity, the 1934 Buffalo nickel remained an essential part of everyday life, circulating as a tool for commerce. The design of the Buffalo nickel, created by sculptor James Earl Fraser, remains one of the most beloved and enduring designs in American coinage. Fraser, an artist who studied under the famed sculptor Augustus Saint Gaudens, sought to capture the essence of America's western frontier. The obverse of the coin features a Native American chief, modeled after 3 different Native American leaders, although one of the most well-known interpretations is of Chief Irontail of the Lakota Sioux. Fraser's design was highly detailed, with the face of the chief etched in a way that showcased the strength and dignity of Native American people. The design was powerful, with the deep relief on the coin giving it a bold, striking look. On the reverse, the buffalo was depicted in its full glory, as a symbol of the nation's great frontier and the wild landscape that had once been teeming with these magnificent animals. The buffalo was modeled after a real-life buffalo named Black Diamond, who was housed in the Central Park Zoo in New York City at the time. The reverse shows the buffalo standing on a raised mound, giving it a majestic, almost symbolic presence. But the 1934 Buffalo nickel wasn't just a work of art. It also had a practical purpose. During the early years of the coin's production, the U.S. Mint used a high-relief design, making the coins deeply engraved. This resulted in a beautiful but impractical coin that wore down quickly with regular circulation. By the time the 1934 issue was released, the Mint had lowered the relief, which helped with production and durability but led to a slightly less striking appearance. Yet, collectors still valued the 1934 Buffalo nickel for its historical significance and its connection to the country's past. During the 1934 coinage year, over 14 million Buffalo nickels were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The coin was produced in large quantities, as the U.S. Mint needed to continue supplying coins for everyday transactions. However, despite the substantial mintage, the 1934 Buffalo nickel is still highly prized by collectors today, partly because of its place in the coin's history. As the Great Depression continued to grip the country, coins like the Buffalo nickel played an important role in the everyday lives of Americans. One of the main challenges with the 1934 Buffalo nickel and many other coins from that era is that they were heavily worn due to the circulation in which they were used. Most of the Buffalo nickels from the 1930s show significant wear, with the intricate details of the Native American chief and the buffalo fading over time. This makes finding a well-preserved 1934 Buffalo nickel particularly rare and valuable. Coins in high-grade conditions, especially those that show minimal wear, are highly sought after by collectors. As the decades passed, the Buffalo nickel became a beloved piece of American history. The design continued to evoke the spirit of the American West and Native American culture, resonating with those who were drawn to the coin's powerful imagery. Despite the coin's relatively low value when it was originally minted, by the mid-20th century, the Buffalo nickel began to gain popularity among collectors, especially as the coin's production was phased out and replaced by the Jefferson nickel in 1938. Fast forward to the present day, and the 1934 Buffalo nickel holds a special place in the world of coin collecting. As of today, coins in high-grade condition, those that have been preserved with little to no wear, can fetch impressive prices. For example, a 1934 Buffalo nickel in mint state 65, MS65, condition could easily command hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the market and the rarity of the coin. The coin's value has only increased over the years, and the 1934 Buffalo nickel is now considered a highly desirable piece for both collectors of U.S. coins and those interested in the broader history of American numismatics. The 1934 Buffalo nickel represents more than just a coin. It's a window into a time of economic hardship, a reflection of a nation's past, and a testament to the artistry and craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint. As collectors continue to seek out these beautiful coins, the legacy of the Buffalo nickel endures. It reminds us of the importance of preserving history through the art of coinage and serves as a symbol of the spirit of the American people during the Great Depression. For those interested in numismatics, the 1934 Buffalo nickel is a prime example of how the stories of a nation can be told through the coins it produces. The coin's design, its minting history, and its place in American history all combine to make it an enduring treasure. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey into the world of coins, the 1934 Buffalo nickel is a piece of history worth exploring. Top 3. The 1935 Buffalo nickel, often referred to as one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, carries with it a rich story filled with historical significance, remarkable design, and lasting appeal among collectors. The coin is a snapshot of its time, offering a glimpse into the nation's past and how it interacted with the issues of the day. Let's journey back to 1935 and explore the coin's creation, its cultural context, and the collector interest that it continues to stir up today. The Buffalo nickel was originally introduced in 1913 by the U.S. Mint to replace the Indian head nickel, which had been in circulation since 1866. The new design was the result of a competition aimed at producing a coin that was more reflective of the American spirit in the early 20th century. The coin was created by the talented sculptor James Earl Fraser, who sought to capture the essence of the American frontier, a time when Native Americans and bison were at the heart of the American identity. By the time 1935 arrived, the Buffalo nickel had already been circulating for over 2 decades. But this particular year marked a subtle yet important chapter in the coin's history. The coin was now part of a larger set of designs that continued to circulate during the era of the Great Depression. Despite the challenging economic times, the Buffalo nickel remained a key part of everyday life for Americans, circulating through the hands of the public and adding to its lasting legacy. In terms of design, the 1935 Buffalo nickel did not see drastic changes compared to its earlier versions. The obverse still showcased the profile of a Native American chief, a powerful representation of the nation's indigenous heritage. Fraser's design was exceptional, capturing not only the features of the chief, but also the character and dignity of Native American culture. The chief's face was rendered in such a way that the strength of the American people was evident, with the deep relief adding to the visual impact of the coin. On the reverse of the coin, the buffalo was still the main attraction. The majestic animal, symbolizing the untamed American West, stood on a raised mound, a representation of the frontier that had once been home to millions of bison. This design was drawn from a real-life buffalo named Black Diamond, who lived in New York's Central Park Zoo at the time. The buffalo was depicted in a way that gave it a sense of grandeur and importance, emphasizing the connection between the nation and its natural heritage. In 1935, the U.S. Mint continued to produce the buffalo nickel using the same basic principles. However, by this time, the Mint had lowered the coin's relief compared to the original issue in 1913, a change that had been made in the 1920s to make the coin easier to mint and more durable in circulation. This change affected the overall look of the coin, making it less bold in appearance, but also contributing to its longevity as a circulating piece. Many of the buffalo nickels from the 1930s show evidence of wear, which means that coins from this period are often found with some details worn down or even completely missing. Despite the changes to its design and relief, the 1935 buffalo nickel remained a beloved coin in the eyes of the public. It was an emblem of America's past, a coin that connected the people of the 1930s to the frontier days of the 19th century. And even though the buffalo nickel was nearing the end of its production run, set to be replaced by the Jefferson nickel in 1938, it continued to be a staple of American commerce throughout the 1930s. In terms of minting, the 1935 buffalo nickel was produced in large numbers. The U.S. Mint struck over 50 million coins that year, with the bulk of production taking place at the Philadelphia Mint. However, as with many coins from the Depression era, these coins saw heavy circulation, which contributed to their wear over time. The Mint produced the coins quickly to meet the high demand for circulating currency, but the heavy usage meant that finding a well-preserved example from this year became a challenge for collectors. As time passed, the 1935 buffalo nickel, like other coins of its era, became a symbol of a bygone age. The economic struggles of the 1930s, particularly the Great Depression, were part of the context in which these coins existed. They were used daily, spent at stores, and passed from hand to hand as the country grappled with widespread poverty and hardship. The buffalo nickel, despite its original price of just 5 cents, became a tangible link to the past, a reminder of the resilience and resourcefulness of the American people. Collectors began to take an interest in the buffalo nickel soon after it was discontinued in 1938. As people began to collect coins as a hobby, the unique design and historical significance of the buffalo nickel made it a desirable piece. The 1935 buffalo nickel, in particular, became highly sought after due to its place in the coin's production timeline. It represented a key year in the life of the coin, falling near the tail end of its circulation and production. However, finding a high-quality 1935 buffalo nickel has always been a challenge. Most of the coins from this year, like those from other years in the 1930s, were heavily worn by circulation. The intricate details of the Native American chief and the buffalo were often rubbed away, leaving coins in less than perfect condition. Because of this, collectors have long prized well-preserved specimens of the 1935 buffalo nickel, and coins in high-grade condition are among the most coveted in the world of numismatics. A 1935 buffalo nickel in mint condition, free from scratches, wear, or discoloration, can fetch a considerable amount in the market today. Depending on the grade and condition, these coins can range in price from modest amounts to thousands of dollars. Coins in uncirculated or near-mint condition are especially rare, and collectors often pay top dollar for these examples, given their historical significance and rarity. Over the years, the 1935 buffalo nickel has solidified its place in American coin collecting history. As with all numismatic pieces, its value is tied not only to the materials and craftsmanship, but also to the story it tells. The 1935 buffalo nickel is more than just a coin. It is a piece of history that evokes the spirit of America in the midst of the Great Depression, a time when the country's people were tested, but the nation's strength was reflected in the resilience of its people and its symbols. For collectors, the 1935 buffalo nickel continues to be a prized possession, a valuable addition to any collection. The coin's design, the unique historical context of its production, and the scarcity of well-preserved specimens all contribute to its ongoing allure. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a newcomer to coin collecting, the 1935 Buffalo nickel represents a connection to America's past that remains timeless and captivating. Top 4. The 1936 Buffalo nickel, with its distinctive mint mark, holds a special place in American coinage, representing not just a piece of currency but a reflection of the nation's history during the Great Depression. This iconic coin, with its beautiful design and intricate details, connects us to a time when the U.S. was navigating some of its most challenging economic moments while still preserving the spirit of its past. Let's take a deep dive into the fascinating story of the 1936 Buffalo nickel, exploring its historical context, design elements, minting details, collector appeal, and lasting value. By the mid-1930s, the United States was still grappling with the fallout of the Great Depression, which had begun in 1929. This was a time of economic hardship, with unemployment rates soaring and many families struggling to make ends meet. Yet, even in such difficult times, the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins, including the Buffalo nickel, which had first been introduced in 1913. The coin's design, which depicted an American bison on the reverse and a Native American chief on the obverse, struck a chord with the public, evoking a sense of national pride and connection to the country's frontier past. The 1936 Buffalo nickel, like many coins of the era, was produced under challenging circumstances. The coin was part of a larger effort by the U.S. Mint to keep the country's economy moving during a time of financial instability. Despite the difficult times, the Mint continued to produce these coins, keeping them in circulation for daily use. The 1936 Buffalo nickel was no different, circulating widely and enduring the wear and tear of everyday transactions. One of the unique aspects of the 1936 Buffalo nickel is its mint marks. While earlier Buffalo nickels were produced at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, coins struck in 1936 were produced at various mints across the United States, and the mint marks became an important part of the coin's identity. Depending on the specific mint where the coin was struck, it could bear a D for the Denver Mint or an S for the San Francisco Mint. These mint marks provide collectors with a way to trace the coin's origins and add another layer of interest to the coin. The 1936 Buffalo nickel's design, which had been created by James Earl Fraser, remained largely unchanged since its introduction in 1913. On the obverse, the profile of a Native American chief is depicted, his features strong and dignified. This portrayal was not meant to represent any single individual, but rather an idealized image of Native American strength and character. Fraser's work captured the noble and enduring spirit of the Native American people, a reflection of their role in the nation's history and the cultural significance of the American West. The reverse of the 1936 Buffalo nickel features the famous image of a buffalo standing on a raised mound. This powerful symbol of the American frontier had been inspired by a real-life buffalo named Black Diamond, who lived at the Central Park Zoo in New York City at the time. Fraser's depiction of the buffalo was not just a representation of the animal itself, but also of the untamed spirit of the West. The buffalo's portrayal, strong and majestic, was a reminder of the country's history and the vastness of the wilderness that once dominated the land. While the design of the 1936 Buffalo nickel remained largely unchanged, the coin's minting process had undergone some adjustments. By this point in the 1930s, the U.S. Mint had reduced the relief of the coin to make it easier to produce. This change was made to improve the coin's durability and to reduce the wear that had been seen in earlier versions. The lower relief meant that the fine details of the design, such as the intricate features of the Native American chief and the buffalo, were less pronounced, but it also allowed for greater ease in production. The minting process for the 1936 Buffalo nickel involved several steps, beginning with the creation of the coin's dies. The dies were hand-engraved by skilled artisans, and the design was transferred onto metal blanks, which were then struck in high-pressure machines to create the final coin. The coins were struck in nickel, which was a common material for U.S. coins at the time. The use of nickel, combined with the coin's design and minting techniques, contributed to the Buffalo nickel's distinct appearance and feel. In 1936, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Buffalo nickels, with the Denver and San Francisco mints contributing to the overall production. The total number of Buffalo nickels minted that year was over 60 million, which ensured that the coin remained in circulation for several years. The vast number of coins produced, however, meant that most of the 1936 buffalo nickels that were in circulation became heavily worn and damaged over time. Coins that were used in daily transactions were often subject to scratches, dings, and other forms of wear, which made it difficult for collectors to find examples in pristine condition. For collectors, the 1936 buffalo nickel has long been an object of interest, particularly when it comes to the different mint marks. Coins struck at the Denver and San Francisco mints are more sought after than those from Philadelphia, as they were produced in smaller quantities. Additionally, the condition of the coin plays a significant role in its value. A well-preserved 1936 buffalo nickel, particularly one with a clear mint mark and minimal wear, can fetch a premium price in the numismatic market. Coins in higher grades, such as those in uncirculated or near-mint condition, are especially rare and command even higher prices. The appeal of the 1936 buffalo nickel goes beyond just its design and minting details. The coin holds a special place in the hearts of collectors because it represents a link to the nation's history and its struggles during the Great Depression. The buffalo nickel was in circulation during a time when the United States was grappling with economic challenges, and its design, featuring symbols of the American frontier, resonated with a public that was yearning for a return to strength and prosperity. Collectors are particularly drawn to the 1936 buffalo nickel because of its association with the Great Depression and the country's history. The coin, with its distinctive mint mark and its connection to the frontier era, continues to capture the imagination of those who seek to connect with the past through the coins they collect. Whether it's the D or S mint mark, or a particular condition or grade, the 1936 buffalo nickel offers something for every collector. As time goes on, the value of the 1936 buffalo nickel continues to appreciate, particularly for well-preserved specimens. Today, depending on its condition, a 1936 buffalo nickel can range in price from a few dollars to several $100s, with coins in exceptional condition commanding even higher prices. For collectors who are lucky enough to find a 1936 buffalo nickel in uncirculated condition, the coin can be a prized possession that holds both historical and financial value. In conclusion, the 1936 buffalo nickel is more than just a coin. It is a tangible connection to a critical period in American history. Its design, minting process, and the history behind it make it a fascinating piece for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. Whether you're drawn to its artistic qualities, its connection to the American frontier, or its historical significance during the Great Depression, the 1936 buffalo nickel remains a coin that continues to captivate the imaginations of those who appreciate the rich story behind it. Top 5. The 1937 buffalo nickel, a coin that stands as a symbol of both American history and artistry, continues to captivate collectors and numismatists alike. Produced during the final years of the coin's run, this piece encapsulates the spirit of the time, reflecting both the Great Depression's impact and the artistic achievements of the U.S. Mint. In this video, we'll explore the historical context of the 1937 buffalo nickel, dive into its design, uncover the minting details, and discuss the collector appeal that makes it a sought-after piece today. Finally, we'll take a look at its value, considering its rarity and condition. In the late 1930s, the United States was beginning to pull itself out of the depths of the Great Depression. The country had witnessed widespread unemployment, economic hardships, and a reeling financial system. By 1937, President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs were beginning to take effect, offering hope for economic recovery. However, the scars of the Depression were still deeply felt by many Americans. It was within this context that the 1937 buffalo nickel was produced, during a time when Americans were yearning for stability, and coins, such as the buffalo nickel, became symbols of endurance. The buffalo nickel was introduced in 1913 and quickly became one of the most beloved coins in U.S. history. Its design, created by James Earl Fraser, featured a Native American chief on the obverse and an American bison on the reverse. The design was intended to honor the Native American people and the majestic bison, two symbols of the American West, a region that had long captured the national imagination. The coin was produced for over 2 decades, becoming a lasting icon in American coinage. In 1937, it was nearing the end of its production run, and its design remained a powerful symbol of the American frontier. The 1937 Buffalo nickel features the familiar image of a Native American chief on the obverse. Fraser's portrayal of the chief was not meant to represent any specific individual, but rather an idealized image of Native American strength and pride. The chief's profile is strong and dignified, with a serious expression that conveys both wisdom and resilience. Fraser's rendering of the chief was both artistic and symbolic, capturing the spirit of the Native American people who had been so integral to the history of the American frontier. The reverse of the 1937 buffalo nickel continues the theme of the American West, with its depiction of a buffalo standing proudly on a mound. This iconic image is one of the most recognized in American coinage. The buffalo, which was inspired by a real animal named Black Diamond at the Central Park Zoo in New York, symbolizes the untamed spirit of the American frontier. The bison, once abundant across the plains, became an emblem of the country's natural heritage and its connection to the land. While the design of the 1937 buffalo nickel stayed largely unchanged, one notable feature was the coin's mint marks. Like other buffalo nickels produced during the 1930s, the 1937 issue was struck at various U.S. mint facilities. Depending on where the coin was minted, it could feature a D for the Denver Mint or an S for the San Francisco Mint. These mint marks became an important element for collectors, as they allowed for a distinction between coins produced at different mints. The 1937 Buffalo nickel saw the highest production at the Denver Mint, with millions of coins produced, followed by the San Francisco Mint. The minting process for the 1937 Buffalo nickel involved several intricate steps. Skilled artisans hand-engraved the coin's dies, and the design was then transferred to metal blanks, known as planchets, which were struck by high-pressure machines. The U.S. Mint used a mixture of nickel and copper for the coin, giving it its distinct appearance and durability. The minting process itself was an exacting one, as the high relief of the coin's design, especially the detailed features of the Native American chief and the buffalo, presented challenges in ensuring the coins could be struck with clarity and precision. However, the wear and tear of the minting process eventually took its toll on the buffalo nickel's design. As the coin was used in circulation, the high relief of the image often caused it to wear down quickly, leaving coins in less than ideal condition. By the late 1930s, the mint had reduced the coin's relief slightly to improve its durability. This adjustment helped the coins withstand the wear from everyday handling, but it also meant that the intricate details of the design were less pronounced than in earlier years. Despite this change, the 1937 Buffalo nickel, like its predecessors, was a coin of significant cultural importance. It was part of everyday life in America, circulating widely and used in everything from grocery purchases to public transport fares. It wasn't just a form of currency. It was a reminder of the nation's history, of the pioneering spirit of the American West, and of the struggles faced by the country during the Great Depression. Collectors today are drawn to the 1937 Buffalo nickel for several reasons. The coin's design remains one of the most visually striking of any U.S. coin. The profile of the Native American chief and the image of the buffalo are timeless, representing both the heritage of the United States and the ideals of strength and perseverance. For numismatists, the presence of the mint mark is also important, as it helps establish the coin's provenance and can impact its rarity and value. Of particular interest to collectors are the coins that remain in higher grades. Due to the coin's high relief and the fact that it was in circulation for so long, many of the 1937 Buffalo nickels show significant signs of wear. Coins in excellent condition, particularly those that have been preserved in uncirculated or near-mint condition, are highly sought after and can command premium prices. The 1937 Buffalo nickel is often evaluated based on its level of detail, with higher-grade coins featuring clearer and more distinct images of the Native American chief and the buffalo. Additionally, the different mint marks, D for Denver and S for San Francisco, also influence the coin's value. Coins from the San Francisco Mint are often rarer than those from Denver, and this scarcity can make them more valuable to collectors. In general, the 1937 Buffalo nickel is a coin that appeals to both seasoned numismatists and casual collectors. Its rich history, beautiful design, and relative scarcity in higher grades make it an excellent addition to any collection. The value of the 1937 Buffalo nickel can vary greatly depending on its condition, mint mark, and rarity. While coins in lower grades might only fetch a few dollars, those in excellent condition, particularly those with an S mint mark, can be worth significantly more. For example, a 1937 Buffalo nickel in uncirculated condition can fetch hundreds of dollars at auction, depending on its specific grade and appeal to collectors. At the top end of the spectrum, rare coins from the 1937 year, especially those with a high level of preservation and a rare mint mark, can see even higher prices. It's not unusual for collectors to pay top dollar for coins in mint or near mint condition, making the 1937 Buffalo nickel a prized possession for those who are fortunate enough to own one. As time goes on and these coins become harder to find in pristine condition, their value is likely to continue to rise, making them a strong investment for collectors. In conclusion, the 1937 Buffalo nickel is a coin that tells the story of a nation at a crossroads. It reflects the spirit of the American West, the resilience of the Native American people, and the endurance of the United States during one of its most challenging times. For collectors, it represents a link to that past, a tangible connection to a time when the country was struggling but still pushing forward. Whether you're drawn to its design, its historical significance, or its collector value, the 1937 Buffalo nickel remains a coin of enduring beauty and importance.